So I've got this saying, and I've grown up with it, but you gotta hot rod everything. Hot rod, 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 hot rod. And I think it really applies to this hobby, especially with RC drift cars, because everyone wants to customize their own car and make it unique and make it their own. Welcome back to Shredcraft RC. I'm Cam, and this is part 8 of the FRX RS front motor project. So along with filling you guys in on the progress that I've made with the files on the FRX RS, I wanted to share some tips and tricks so you guys can totally customize and add your own touch to your RC drift car. Now, besides painting the body, this isn't something I really do a whole lot with my cars because I think in my brain when I'm building an RC drift car, I tend to focus on performance and keeping the car as light as possible. However, as you saw in the last episode, the FRX RS is quite a heavy car. And now this isn't going to be a competition build, but more so a project to have fun with, work on new ideas, test new things, see what works, see what doesn't work. And I was going to show you some of the things that I'm adding on to the OneVia S13 body to give it a little flair and make it a little unique. If you guys can see there, the S13 has some mirrors. Now these were printed by a buddy of mine, Doug, down at Scale Science, and he's starting his own brand of 3D printed parts and accessories that you can add on to your own drift car. And if you guys want to follow him on Instagram, I will put his Instagram here in the video, but he is Flow State Drifting, and he's got a bunch of cool things. I even added an intercooler to the front cutout of this body, and that was another one of his pieces that he printed. So I did something a little different with the lights. And another buddy of mine from Scale Science, Mile High RC, Mark, he makes these really cool LED light strips, and I'll show you what the kits look like. But what I did was I actually glued in the strips and I cut out just under the headlight. So it's not too noticeable, but there is this little LED strip. And then on the back side, you can see that intercooler glued in along with these LED strips. Now let me get to a different angle and I will show you what these look like when they're plugged into a chassis, because it's really something special. And real quick before I do this, Flow State Drifting with that intercooler kit, he actually makes these really cool 3D printed cutouts. So if you wanted to spray paint or airbrush the logos of any of your favorite brands onto the intercooler, you can do that with these little 3D printed masks he has. So there's an HKS, a Greddy, and a Mishimoto if you wanted to add some more scale realism to your 3D printed intercooler. So that's a cool little thing. So this is the Mile High RC light kit, and this is version 2, I believe. You get 2 LED strips and then a control box here, and then a plug. These are just like servo cables, and these will plug right into your ESC. And I may have to turn the lights off really quick for you to see this. And then I'm going to turn on the ESC and check that out. Get these really cool effects. But not only that, the reason for this control box is that you can actually change the color and flicker, and I think there's over like 100 different controls you can do. So you can change the speed at which the lights roll, the color, and then the effect that are on these lights. So it's really awesome because these are like multicolor LED strips, and they are perfect for adding underglow to your car. But what I wanted to do was try and see if I could use these for a headlight option. And another thing that's pretty cool with these lights is that on these back strips, they come with a piece of adhesive, but when you peel that off, it actually has lines where you can actually cut these to shorten the length of the light. So I cut just a small section and then I glued it into the headlight of the car. So I wanted to plug those in, see if it was going to work, see if it looked somewhat decent, and then we'll get some shots of the car maybe lit up at night, see what these look like. So I've got them on the car. The wiring's super rough. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but I I left the control box out so I could get to it, and we'll see if we can get some different effects. So you can kind of get it rolling. You can change the effect. It's pretty cool. So I still need to get it finished up, and I'll probably spray some black back on top of the lights just so they don't bleed through the paint, but it's actually pretty cool. So I'm happy with how that turned out. The scale little intercooler, got some mirrors on the car finally. Just adding some cool scale details to the RC drift car. There's so many options, it's hard to pick which one. So I think that looks pretty cool. Paired with the mirrors, the intercooler, and the Mile High RC lights, this thing's starting to get a few more scale details than I had before. Now, like I said before, I'm not really one that does this a lot, and I don't add too many details to my bodies because I like to keep them more lightweight and simpler, I guess you would say. But I still need to go through, tape up the wiring or get it fitted inside the body there, and then figure out which light strobe I want to rock on this thing. And then possibly in the future I'll think about throwing some taillights in. I still have the taillight buckets that I could paint up and fit to this body. But overall I'm pretty happy. These mirrors look great. They fit perfectly into the little window triangle on this body. And then that intercooler fit perfectly into that little cutout. The headlights just give it a nice little touch. I'm sure people are going to want to know what kind of glue I'm using when I'm attaching mirrors, the intercooler, and the lights. I always use E6000. I really like this stuff. I even use it for body magnets and stuff like that. It's a rubber cement type of glue. It doesn't seem to peel off paint, and then I can always remove it, especially for magnets if I want to use them in the future on different bodies. E6000, it's my go-to for gluing accessories and parts onto my RC drift bodies. Anyone who's watched the videos before knows that I'm a sucker for clean wiring, keeping things nice and tidy. So just a little tip after your glue's dried, to route the wires in a way that they're not going to interfere with the wheels or any of the chassis components. I know there are kits out there to do magnet quick disconnects. For me, for this kit to have the switch available to use and then be able to plug it in right when I put the body on the car is nice and handy. That's how I'm going to do this one. So I just laid some vinyl down, took some E6000 and just glued the connectors down so they can still be detached. And then, like I said, I'll probably go through with some black airbrush paint and paint these up just to keep some of the light bleed from bleeding through. And then, yeah, nice clean wiring. And here's what it looks like all cleaned up. So I went ahead and sprayed some black with the airbrush to clean up those first edges of the wire and then the back of the lights themselves, just so they kind of blend in and then light won't bleed through as much on the edges of where those lights are glued in. And then I've got the harness loose here so I can plug that into the receiver pretty easily. So I think I'll get it strapped up onto the FRX here and try to set up a little scene and get some shots of it glowing at night. Alright, and along with the scale accessories, I just wanted to update everyone on the front motor project chassis. So what I have here are all my parts and pieces, and I've got these into Fusion 360 now. So they are a 3D file, and then I was able to export my STL and step files for the carbon manufacturer. So I think I'm going to end up making these out of carbon fiber, and I'll actually be ordering a test set this week to make sure the fit and finish and the countersinks and all of the things like that are squared away, but I'm planning on making this out of 2mm 2x2 twill weave carbon fiber. So it's going to be significantly lighter than the aluminum prototype chassis here, and I think it's going to be able to offer a little more performance, along with having this cool aspect of having the roll cage. So got the roll cage piece. These will effectively be the side braces. I've got the battery tray. I've got this top roof bar that's going to key into the slots on top of the roll cage, and then the front brace and arm mount along with the main chassis deck. So I think this is going to be a really cool project and look really awesome in that 2x2 twill weave for a chassis plate. So the aluminum was just to test, figure out different materials, testing hole placement, stuff like that. And then I think I got my file dialed in, so really excited to get one of these in, and that will be in an upcoming episode. I will show you what this chassis looks like when I get it made in carbon fiber. So I know this was a quick one, just showing you a few little customization tips and tricks, adding some parts, and sharing some of my friends' entrepreneurial parts and pieces in this cool little hobby. Remember, you gotta hot rod everything. So moving forward, like I explained with the FRX RS files, I am in talks with my carbon manufacturer to get a test chassis made and sent over so I'm able to test it out. And then what I'm going to do, if everything fits and everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead and open pre-orders, hopefully in a week or so from when this video comes out. It's just going to depend when those chassis come in and I'm able to sort everything out and figure out the sourcing, because there'll be a few additional bits I'll need to order that will go along with the kits. But if you guys are interested in picking up your own FRX RS Shredcraft chassis, leave a comment down below. Make sure you check out the description where I have all the parts, all the tools, even the paint that I've used on this build so far. If you are interested, I also have a Discord group, and I'll include that link down in the description as well. And that's just kind of a community of everyone with FRXs. So that Discord group is just a place for everyone with an FRX to kind of share their input along with sharing their own builds. And then what I'll do is I will share everyone's builds in upcoming episodes when we get this chassis more finalized and set up. Along with that, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's been checking this series out so far. It's really cool to see all the appreciation for all the work that's going into this build. This is something I haven't really done before. I've never really shown my exact process of designing, setting up files, going from vinyl cutouts to aluminum prototype, now to a full carbon fiber kit. So that's something I don't see a lot of people or other designers do. You see people like clicking around on the computer and they'll make their 3D print file and then go from A to Z really quick, where I wanted to show all the steps in the process and how an idea becomes a physical product, and then offering it to you guys to purchase yourselves and go out and shred with these cars. That's why I built this thing. That's why I have all my custom builds to showcase, because I like to use them. I like to bang them up, like to shred them on track, shred the trucks in the dirt, stuff like that. Just having fun in the RC hobby and sharing that passion with you guys. So yeah, just thanks a lot for tuning in. Do me a favor, make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you like this episode. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome RC content from Shredcraft RC. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.